Go for it.
I need to turn the things off real quick. Hold on. That's what I was trying to figure out how to do. How in the world do I turn this off? I don't
Turn what
want to.
though?
The theme, our names in the bottom right corner, that's going to be a problem when we edit it. It's going to kind of mess with it. So I'm trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
not do it. Anyway. Okay. Well, let's get it running.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's up, guys? John Sintez, Cutternation Baseball. I'm really excited. I've got one of my greatest, most recent friends / counterpart / fighting partner, sparring partner. We've been talking about doing a podcast and catching up for a long time, but one of the most valuable people to the company at Cutternation, going for 2024 season. We have a lot of goals and plans on it. Bradley Roberto. Brad, how you doing, bud?
What's up, John? Good to be here.
Thanks, brother.
Appreciate the intro, by the way.
Time. Yeah, of course. I mean, I talk about you all the time. You know, it's the proofs in the pudding. We have the history, right? And recently, for the first time in 3 years, I actually got you out with a changeup, which is wild. It's also more wild that, like, while I was thinking it, you said it out loud during live.
Like the same time, right as it happened. Like that was the first one.
Yeah, I think I pointed. I was like, oh, yeah. So awesome, dude. Awesome. Well, let's catch up with your life a little bit. You just left us, but you're still with us, but you left us physically. I love that, with my experience in the Pecos League and how remote training and everything goes, being able to survive as a baseball player, it makes me very happy that we have created such a problem that I need you to keep us going in the right direction, So tell everybody, like, what's the plan? Like, where, first of all, start with that trip, because like that is a rough trip. You know what I mean?
Well, we get to the drive, but really what we're doing is that we're going to play some baseball. Like me and all the other pros, like we have to continue what we're doing in terms of playing, in terms of getting to new levels, in terms of, just elevating our game. That way we can learn more and bring more back to the facility and to our guys and to our team. And it's just like, it's like we talk about our facility being like a martial arts studio all the time. Like the black belts don't stop training. They don't stop fighting. Yeah, they might stop competing eventually, but they're still learning, getting better. And, those people can fuck you up too. So, with our instructors, we take our instructors, if our instructors are the black belt of the place, is like we have to keep going, and we have to keep elevating our game just so we can stay ahead and keep learning new things to teach our guys.
Yeah, the game keeps evolving, right? Like you and I talk about watching the trends, seeing how things are going, watching college baseball, watching professional baseball, watching winter ball, seeing what is the trends in the game. And, being able to have that information rolling into a season where you is really against you. If you think about it, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know who you're facing. The guys that are going to be around you and be playing against you, they may or may not know who you are. Maybe they've seen you, maybe they haven't. That could be an advantage, disadvantage. We'll see. And that's where, it takes me back with you, like certain scenarios where you are so confident in what you're doing. And I watched it happen. Like I had a front row seat at Bradley Roberto figuring it out, coming back from injury, training, and then sharpening his sword and becoming the Jedi that I know is. He's one of the toughest outs in San Diego, and I'll put my word on that. For all of the San Diego teams that are here, all of them, like definitely one of the toughest outs. So I appreciate your time, dude.
Yeah, hell yeah. I think. Well, I was gonna say, I just think like people not knowing me, like I got that experience in college that I didn't know anybody and nobody knew who I was. So to me, that was an advantage in this. I try to see it as an advantage. Like people will talk about, it's like, oh, we're facing this guy, this guy, this guy. But like, who? I don't know who that is. He probably fucking sucks. You know what I mean? So I didn't care. You know what I mean? It's just me. Right. It was me versus the baseball. So I really never cared who I was facing. And if I didn't have any, you know what I mean? Versus like, imagine if I saw his stat, or like, if we're going up against a freaking Max Scherzer, or you know what I mean? That can kind of go against you a little bit. Versus if you have no idea and all you just see is his pitches, and like, all right, I can hit that.
Totally, dude. And there's some cool stuff that I feel like you've brought to my attention. I wanted to give you a little praise on that. You kind of pointed something out that like I hadn't thought of. I had thought of the information before. We talked about it. We were only using it defensively, not offensively. And, you had explained it to some of the guys, some pro guys, and your simple explanation is what I'm hoping for this, because it's just such a valuable piece to any of the hitters out there. And this is why you should be a complete baseball player, by the way, guys. And I hope you know where I'm going with this, right?
In
Like
terms
how you see the arm swing, how you see pitchers throw baseballs.
Oh yeah. I mean,
could you explain that?
I mean, it all came from really doing the training with you guys and learning actually how to throw and how to, like, the arm swing affects like the movement of the ball and where the ball's going and how the shapes are going to be. So like now that I can see different things in different arm shapes, like I know exactly what the pitchers are going to look like. So like back again, like if I don't know the pitcher, first thing I'm looking at is motion. You know what I mean? I'm trying to see where his release point's at and then what his arm's doing in that motion. It's like, okay, that's what his pitches look like. You know what I mean? And that's all I really need to know.
Right on.
You know, I don't need to know your stats. I don't need to know anything else. You know what I mean? Maybe, okay, yeah, if I had some percentages on, you know, what he throws in what certain counts, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to have that, you know what I mean? But I can tell by what he's landing and what he's not, like, okay, that's probably what I'm going to see. And, okay, if that does that, I need to do this.
Right. If this, then that, and then you do this, I do that. Yeah, exactly.
Right, for sure.
That's the funny part about the changeup, you know, like you're such good at like knowing the zone. Rarely do you strike out looking unless it's just a split track man. But you're also an umpire, so it's interesting. Your eyes come from different, you know, processes and different experiences where you've seen the game from multiple angles, and I think that's the advantage that you carry over into pro ball. So kudos to you, dude. I'm you know me, I'm a big fan. I can't wait to see what color we're wearing. I'm gonna have to make a hoodie with the color of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Brad might be getting a special delivery.
Shall find out soon, huh? You know?
Yeah, for sure. I know. I'm excited. All right, let's get into some of the stuff that we really want to do. Let's get down to business. You know, we have a certain philosophy in what we are doing, and I think the main purpose of this is for people to actually understand, so we can list all of the things that we've kind of come up with recently on this like training style of what we're doing. You know, maybe a 2024 definition, if you may, you know, like this is where we're at. This is kind of how we see it and stuff, right? Could you yourself define the philosophy in a couple different aspects, right? Like let's go down the training side of it and how we've expanded over here into the new building. And then let's get into our newest venture, which we have so much to do, right? Which would be our teams that we are applying to that, right? You know, so when it comes to philosophy and like what we're actually trying to do, you know, obviously failure is a huge part of this game, as well as like learning from it, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see if you could elaborate on those two ideas.
Yeah, you know, we'll get to the failure part of it, but I think overall it was trying to make professional training more accessible to everybody. Right. And we do that in a way like how we package our training, like not just accessible like monetarily, but like time and location wise. Like, you know, a big problem in San Diego is that I have to go to this place for this thing. I have to go to, you know, then I got to go to my field practice. Oh, then I got to get my workout in here. Oh, I got to get my hitting in here. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then, yes, you're paying for all those different things, but also like you're traveling to different places, working with different people and stuff like that. We really created like a one-stop shop for everything you need in terms of baseball. And that's why, you know, our pros love it. You know, I mean, we got a lot more pros this year. You know what I mean? It's not just because of the environment that we provided, but like, you know, we're actually in there doing the stuff with them, you know. And I think the pros really appreciate that, enjoy that. They're not just like people that, or we're not just people just telling them what to do, but like they can actually kind of relate to us and we can relate back to them. You know, so we're really just trying to provide the best training experience to become that level of player. You know what I mean? And the way, you know, especially with the kids, like when you go in there, you see a bunch of different levels of baseball, right? And when you're around people who are, no matter how good you are, right, there's always going to be someone better than you. Even like in the gym, you know what I mean? There's going to roll in there that's better than you. And when you're just around that level of baseball all the time, you can kind of see what's just not it. You know what I mean? Maybe you go to your practice, maybe you go to your high school program, maybe you go to your travel ball, even freaking Little League. You're like, oh man, this practice suck. You know what I mean? Or you just see the gap of talent, of players, of knowledge, and I think we've been trying to like bring people up to speed, as many people as we can up to speed, right? And I think that's just like the whole basis of our philosophies is treating everybody, training everyone becoming a pro in their own way. You know what I mean? We have a
Yeah.
bunch of kids that can just start training, just go in there, start training. They do everything. They're freaking doing their warm up. They're doing their soft tissue. They're doing the dynamic. They're doing their skill training, and then they strength train, and then they get freaking treatment. You know what I mean? All under one roof with guidance on all aspects. You know what I mean? So, and then they're taking that stuff and then going to their teams and whatever, and then kind of reporting back to us.
Yeah, and to follow up, one of the hardest things to understand about what we are as a business with the brand is like, who do we work with, right?
Right.
Can you speak, specifically on your hitting training as a difference from the pro guys to even the younger guys, like the 7 and 8 year olds,
I mean, we work with everybody. One of our guys had one of the guys, Adrian said something really nice about us, how they've been coming for 2 years now, and what he really loves is that there's no judgment, and the way we talk to the kids and the way we treat everybody in there. We treat everybody the same in there, no matter if you're a little kid just starting to play, or if you're freaking Mark Melanson who's been 4 hours, or if you're playing for a rival. Now, since we have teams, we kind of have rivals now, but whatever. We've always had rivals. But if you're coming to train with us, I mean, we're trying to do what's best for you, not some kind of ego thing. We're just going to treat you the same, and we're going to help you get better. And then something like, now that I've had a lot of time to think about what we did this off season, especially on that drive, what I'm really proud that I can say, and confidently I'm sure you can too, is that everybody who's come through our building has left a better baseball player, whether it's a hitter, pitcher, anything. Every single person. Like, I can't think of one person who came in there and left a worse baseball player. Yeah, they might have got diced up. They might have got diced up and had a lot of failure in our place, but they leave a bit with with some kind of experience that gives them a better baseball player. Even with our teams, I mean, our teams are losing, but whatever, they are leaving those fields, and like these experiences are making them better baseball players.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's so to go a little further, specifically, when somebody walks in, that's a 7-year-old or a professional, right? That process that goes in that beginning, thing.
Yeah.
One thing that I, from my idea on the pitching side is I'm trying to give the information as basic as I can to both of those humans,
right, for sure.
at the fundamental level. Could you talk about the system and the equipment that we kind of use together with that can help you provide this training experience?
Yeah, I think when a 7-year-old comes in first, you kind of teach them. You got to teach them how to train first, not just how to swing the bat or how to.
How do you train? Right.
Like, how do you practice? Like, what do you do when you practice? Like, what is it getting better? Why is it getting you better? But then, having a system or a process that everybody knows, right? Okay, you come in, we'll teach you the warm up, and then once you get that, then we'll teach you the progression of the. So the most simplest progression of hitting goes T, front toss, BP/machine, right? And then so for pitching, it goes, squared up throws, lean back, shuffle throws, mound throw, flat ground to mound, right? In the simplest form ever. It's just some kind of progression to build up to the real thing, which the real thing is obviously live at bats, but the real practice thing is hitting off the machine and throwing off the mound. You know what I mean? And then I don't know if we emphasize that too much, getting to the real thing to where it kind of hurt us, and now our kids just want to go straight to the mound or straight to the machine and don't want to do any of their warm up or fundamental things. But they get it. They understand that that's the thing that's going to get them better. It's not a million T swings. You know what I mean? It's not a bunch of flat ground throwing drills. It's actually doing the thing, which is hitting off a pitcher and throwing off the mound.
Yeah, one of the things that you and I have kind of evolved into was like advanced versions of training and the ability to test yourself inside of those things, and growing up, it was a very vanilla, same style the whole time. I never felt like that we were focused on something more challenging as we went. Can you speak on, the different challenging aspects of training that we kind of put in front of our guys?
Well, It started because that's what I wanted. You know what I mean? That's what I was looking for, was like the next step of training, the next level of how it can get better. You know what I mean? And for me as a hitter, like hitting off the tee and hitting off front toss and get your swings right feels right. But at the end of the day, is that really going to help you hit a pitcher that throws 100 with run and five different pitches? You know what I mean? Or even a pitcher that throws 85 with five different pitches that can land them all. You know what I mean? Is like, so there are ways to, like, everyone always says you got to make practice harder than the game, but baseball's so hard. How do you do that in practice? You know, I mean, everyone wants to keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. And yeah, there's a time for that. But, like even with front toss, I mean, I'm trying to, there'll be times like I'm trying to dice the kids up. We're trying to dice, our pro guys love it. I mean, Jonah's a big thing about that. It's like, hey, mix it up. I mean, mixing ball strikes, mixing different spots, mixing different speeds. I mean, that's a way to make front toss harder. So that way, I mean, you can actually work on something that's game length.
Yeah, and to counter that too, that's where I love one of our advanced classes, the advanced PP situation, where we're actually doing, and we are upfront about it. Look, this is not instructional. Like, if you like, just know that this is high competition, quality reps against people that are trying to get you out. And surprise, Zach's taking over Friday, so we got a lefty in the mix. So we're gonna have to start pushing
nice.
that.
Let's go.
That's exciting.
Let's go.
He's trying to build up and stuff in there too. But that advanced PP idea is something that I saw before, but I didn't quite understand what it's going to be. And then now it's just like my favorite wins. Last night I think I threw like 300 pitches. I think we had like 14 kids in there, and it was funny. We had just different ages. And when you put people in a scenario where they're all against hard, you can see them kind of work together. And that was actually one of my challenging things to the kids, where as they were starting to get carved up and chasing balls and doing stuff, I started, hey, how come none of you guys are talking together, like trying to figure out what I threw when and when I went there? You're just sitting there just taking the information and not actually processing, and that goes back to the thing that you were talking about earlier about just understanding what the pitcher's going to do, when is he going to throw a land at, and that's where you and I see that process, of these kids that start understanding the game a little bit further. Can you speak on what has been some of your favorite memorable experiences while you've been coaching? Can I get one of obviously the facility, right? Can I get a game? And then can I get maybe a live AB situation, something there?
I think just going to the fire with the kids has been my favorite part. You know what I mean? It's like actually going to battle with them. Like before, we were training them, we were training everybody, and they would kind of just report back to us. But now actually going to be on the field on them, seeing them, coaching them, it's made me more invested into our kids, our guys, our team, even the whole business. You know what I mean? Just because we're out there with them, so we see everything they see, we feel everything they feel. You know what I mean? And then. You know what I mean? Whether we win or lose, you know what I mean? It's sharing those experiences with them, I think, has been probably my absolute most favorite part, because we've been able to, build this connection in the gym, and now it's like, okay, now let's go. You know what I mean? Right. Whether we win or lose, it's still and I tell them all the time, it's been a lot of fun. You know what I mean?
All right, so there's your team one. What about in the facility? Do you have anything that comes off the top of your head in the facility, training wise?
I mean, Mark Melanson and Yu Darvish was pretty cool. So
yeah, that was
cool. I think, let's see, facility. Upgrading the facility was obviously really cool.
Yeah, 2023 was kind of wild year, right? Like teams and a new facility, like woof.
In the facility, I think just being able to work and train with all of our boys, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think that's obviously been the best part too, because like even coaching too is like, Pepe, and Brian are living together in Florida right now too, and like we just spent the whole off season together training and coaching together. And Pepe said the same thing too. It's like, I know we're getting our ass kicked, but at least I get to do it with my boys, So. And same thing with training. Same thing with training and then working the whole day. You know what I mean? We spent a lot of time in that facility, but it wouldn't be as good if, we're working with a bunch of old heads and freaking who aren't the vibe's super important to us in our facility. Right. So
it is. It really is. It's the whole thing. Like you can't have a bad experience, and you can't have a situation where just people can't feel like they're being themselves. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what I like about our whole team of coaches too, is that everyone has that something about their personality that they bring to the table, they bring to the vibe. Everyone, they like this person because of this. They like this person because of that. You know what I mean? And then it kind of works all together because we obviously we can't train everybody. I mean, we can't be there all the days, all the hours. So we need, just like you need a team of players, you need a team of coaches that that all work together. And I think we've created like a really good synergy of coaches that can really affect the way kids train, the way the kids learn, and the way they grow up too. Because we've seen a lot of kids mature and their personalities change and grow up. And people kind of take on our vibe and the way we go about our things. And we've seen that, like being able to instill those in some of our guys.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like transferring this knowledge to other humans
Yeah.
is definitely been fun. And I think another you brought up the very first point you brought up on the same thing that would have been mine is teaching people how to train. Like,
Yeah.
It's the first day and walking somebody through the sheet of paper and then being
Yeah.
like, yeah, your coach actually could just tell you in an email ahead of time what he wants you to do to warm up, and then you could just do it. You don't
Right.
have to sit on the line in the circle with your boys with your arms crossed waiting for coach to say, okay, center field and
Yeah.
back.
Go. Yeah.
That's just like
Right.
that's just not the thing. That's not what
Yeah.
parents want. They don't, you just got to teach these kids how to be independent and just start going.
Yeah.
And
Because
I
that's
just
not
wish
how it is in
someone
the pro world.
right, dude. I wish someone would have taught me that when I was 12. Like, just go. Like, don't just stand
Yeah.
there. Just start warming up and start doing your thing. So
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
Okay, cool. Now let's go over a little bit more of the structure and the plan with our teams. I want to get a little bit,
Yes.
if I want to really break down, from the games, from the training, from the practices, the focus, the purpose, right, and then the benefits and what we're trying to get to, right. So
Right.
let's, John has got obviously the best baseball player that's 12-year-olds have ever seen. And I want to join the Cutternation team, right? Like when someone sees team, you and I know that it's not exactly the experience of what people are saying. So like if we were to sum that up into an idea, right? Take it from the moment that they call us, right? And what are we expecting as we get into this process?
It's definitely different the way we try to do our teams, you know what I mean? And then obviously we're running into some complications and issues and exposed to shortcomings of our program, which is fine, you know what I mean? I think when there's a lot of failure, especially as coaches, then that gives us a lot of opportunities to teach, you know what I mean? Opportunities to make adjustments, not just for the kids in their game, but in the way we run our training, the way we run our program. So it's been a big learning experience for us, but I think our main goal was to add that layer of development because you have to play a lot of games to become a really good baseman, really know what you're doing on the baseball field. So I think it was just being able to provide these games for these kids that we're training and provide our perspectives and our feedback, before, during, and after the games to add to their training. Now, what we're finding is that, one thing we didn't have for a lot of time, it was defensive training. And most of our guys, our teams, that's what we really struggled with. So, and we had to be creative in what we did. We had a few field slots early on and it was working, you know what I mean? We were winning ball games, but then when we lost that spot, our defense kind of fell, you know, went down and kind of even more. Like we were on the way up and then it went back down because we lost those field slots. And San Diego's tough with fields. Like I don't know what the solution is for having fields more accessible in San Diego. Because in Florida, you can just hop on a field, no one's going to tell you nothing. You can rent it out super easy. There's batting cages. They're nice. They're well kept. They're everywhere. There's a million of them. Whether it's baseball, soccer, football. Shoot, there's soccer fields with tracks around them. If you're a sprinter, you can go there. You know what I mean? And stuff. And
Yeah.
Every single field has a freaking batting cage that's open and unlocked for you to use or for coaches to rent out and stuff like that. So San Diego's really kind of missing the curve on that. But I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the East Coast, so it's obvious to me that it's just not a welcoming idea, that it's such an institution, right? Like you've got to be a part of a league, a team, a facility, You know what I mean? And then like
High
if
school,
you were to just
community, city.
exactly right, if you were to just go to a field, it wouldn't like it would be locked, probably not
Yeah.
drugged, probably not right. And so it's just
Yeah. You
like
have to
it's
go
a
through a bunch
problem.
of red tape to rent it, you know what I
Dude,
mean? And stuff
so
like you have
much
to go
red
through.
tape. We like I would love to give the city of San Diego more money for us to get on the fields, but like it's like you said, there's an application process. Nobody answers the phone. It's like, what are
Yeah.
we doing? You know,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, one of the toughest questions that I feel like is narrowing down like your top skills, you know, and
Uh-huh.
the trends of the top skills, the history of your top skills, from your perspective of you coming up, right? And I want to
Mhm.
go with your game first, and then I want to go into like what you think the game is coming to, because my history of growing up through the game obviously evolved, right? My first
Yeah.
version did not work. Right.
Right.
Version 1 out, version 2 broken elbow, version 3 we got it. Right.
Yeah.
For you, you know, and what you see from that, you have a wild story, a great experience, right? And so
Uh-huh.
your success level and playing in front of people and experience of all those things is for sure directly affected your pro career. But what do you feel like that is like one of the most valuable skills for, you know, a young baseball player?
Well, for me, it was always being able to put the barrel on the ball. You know what I mean? My bat to ball skills was always just off the charts. From no matter what swing I had, we know who was teaching me what to do. What I was able to put the barrel on the ball. You know what I mean? But now, me being a smaller guy, a shorter guy, that's all people told me was like, just be a good hitter. Just keep putting, just keep barreling the baseballs. Don't worry about, you know, tools or anything like that. Just be a good hitter. And I always was, but where that philosophy came short is that you can do both. You know what I mean? And you can develop tools and you can develop skill. And shoot, it might even be more important to develop tools early on, because what I'm finding out now that I'm 27, is that you can always keep developing skill. Like, shoot, even you, like, people always come back. Some of the pro guys, like, John, you're probably better than ever right now. You know what I mean? Like, even though you're not throwing harder, but like just the craft of the skill of being able to land these pitches whenever you need to,
Right.
it's like has gotten better.
Right.
So
It is. Yeah.
and
The,
it's
the
the same
landing big
thing,
shapes is not exactly easy.
right? And same thing, putting the bat on those, hitting those shapes is not easy either. But I'm getting better at that, with time.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
so
the
I,
sparring martial arts philosophy that you and I talk about is just so it's so it. And
yeah,
there's so many examples of it, right? Like
yeah,
number one, you don't take BP and I don't throw bullpens. So
yeah,
there's a funny little thing right there, right?
yeah,
And then the other funny part would be, you know, when you look at other sports and other scenarios, jujitsu, there's a lot of people that just like don't want to do drills and
yeah,
like drills are like hitting off the tee, front toss, and machine. Like
yeah,
those are still drills. It's not the fire, right?
yeah.
So on your, you know, is there a mental edge? Is there an edge? Like
Oh
what is
yeah,
that
for sure.
thing? What's can you elaborate on this thing that you feel like that has gained this level of confidence?
Well, the same thing is just being comfortable in that fire. You know what I mean? Your brain and body will adapt to whatever kind of stress you put onto it. Fighters say that. I just heard Sean Strickland say, it's like, I've done all my bag work. I just want to go. You know what I mean? I've done all my bag work. I've done all my glove work and stuff like that. I just want to fight. And that's kind of the same thing. It's like, I just want to play. And it's the same thing. Like, all the boys, we've been getting into golf lately, and we all hate the range. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
for
Because
sure.
like at that point,
100%.
yeah, because golf is not serious. We're not serious about it, whatever. But like you hit balls in the range, it's like, damn, I wish I was playing right now. And
Yeah,
then
for sure.
same thing with baseball. Is like, okay, I hit it. Hit my ball, got my barrels off the machine, but like it doesn't feel as good as you hit it off a live pitcher. You know what I mean? Just being comfortable with that, knowing I could turn that on. Knowing that I'm ready for that at all times. Because like, especially now you come in this time of the year, maybe the off season, everyone's complaining how they haven't seen live pitching and that's why they suck. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah, they might take a while, they might get better as the season goes on, but to me, I always feel ready no matter what it is. Like I could have played today if I wanted to, like, or I could at least taken at bats. I don't know how
Sure.
my late I don't know how, yeah, I at least could have taken at bats. I probably would have still, okay, so you're
Sure.
just running your balls
Yeah.
down, you know what I mean? Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Yeah,
You
why
know,
not? For sure,
why
why
not?
not? I
Why
love that.
not? And
You know, that
practicing that show and goes helps too, for sure.
right, for sure. Definitely. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I got off a plane and got to the field an hour before the game in
Mm-hmm.
professional baseball. And they were like, you got to go.
You gotta
okay.
go.
Nobody cares. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
Nobody cares.
If you were give advice, right, to a high school kid that, walks in the door and wants to be Brad Berto, right? What's the first thing you're going to tell them? What's the first piece of information that you're like, okay, this is this?
You got to be better than me. You got to find a way to be, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You because the way I went about my business was like, yes, okay, so I like where I was at or not, I always felt like I had to be better than who was in front of me. You know what I mean? So like in college, I got cut my freshman year, right? But understandably so, that team went 44-4 and had three All Americans in the outfield. So I was like, okay, I get it, but if I want to play at the next level, I can't go backwards just so I can play. I have to be better than these guys, right? Because not all of them are going pro. Yeah, some of them got drafted and stuff like that, but I have to be better than these guys. And that's what kind of drove me to become as good as I am and train hard and finding every single way I can get better. You know what I mean? Coaching was a way I can get better. You know what I mean? When I got cut, when I got hurt, it was like, okay, if I can't train physically, what can I do mentally? What can I do about my diet? What can I do to train my mind? You know what I mean? And then same thing with the off seasons. Okay, I did this, this, and this year. Now, how can I improve on this, this, and that? You know what I mean? And it was hardly ever my swing.
Yeah, and that really helps me segue into like that learning process, right? Like one of my favorite questions to, a young kid, especially like the younger, the better, because they did just really slaps them in the face is, how do you learn? Are you aware of what's the best way for you to input information to your brain so you absorb it? Right? Because, dude, I my whole high school career, I distinctly remember like looking at the words and just being like, I hate this. But like if the lady was talking to me, I could just like look at you and remember it and be good with it, especially if you were captivating. Obviously there were teachers that were better than others, but like I got to read this book and then write a report, like I'm dead, right? That's just not, I'm such a visual guy right in there. So for you, how do you learn, and then how would you pass that on to another person?
I mean, I think you have to kind of learn how to learn in all ways. You know what I mean? Like, there's audio, visual, there's doing it, right? Obviously, me doing the thing and just going for it has been the best way to do it. But like I didn't like reading at first, but it was the desire to learn made me able to learn in all different ways. You know what I mean? I started listening to podcasts, I started listening to all my favorite people, and I never thought of myself as an audio learner, you know what I mean? As someone, you hear something, yeah, I can hear something and learn it. You can tell me something, I can learn it. I can read something, you can show me something, and I can do something and learn it. But I don't think you should have to limit yourself in the way you process information, because that really it is like, oh, I can only learn it if you show me. You know what I mean? No, that's a limiting mindset. You know what I mean? Oh, I have to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, well, no, why can't figure out how to process it? You know what I mean? Because there'll be times where I can't show you what to do. You know what I mean? Where you're just gonna have to figure it out, or there's not gonna be video feedback right then and there to show you how to do it. You got to feel it.
That's what would be mine. Mine would be, the action reaction process that happens in baseball is so misunderstood, I feel like. And, I knew if I swung at a bad pitch and hit a ground ball, I knew why right away. I just knew. I was like, I missed it. I topped it, rolled over, whatever the idea was. And pitching was the same thing. I missed here. I went from there. I don't see a lot of those processes coming in like that very often for younger kids. Mm-hmm. Sometimes with the pro guys, but even then they've never really thought about it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, same thing with like why they are at bat went the way they were. You know what I mean? And that's, with the guys who've been, coming through pretty often, especially with the kids and stuff like that, they are almost like self-coached in a way, because they've, we ask them the right questions and they can feel exactly like what adjustments they need to make. And that's kind of our goal. We have to get our kids to be able to do that, because we can't do it for them.
Okay, Berto, money question.
Mhm.
We'll wrap it up. How do you become a professional baseball player?
You gotta drive across the country. You
Yeah.
gotta drive across the country and spend all your money on this thing that might not even get you a chance to do it, but you gotta go do it. You know what I
You
mean?
got to try, right? You
You
got
gotta
to, you
try.
got to, you
And
got to try.
really, at the end of the day, is you just gotta keep playing. You know what I mean? You gotta keep playing and keep trying to move forward. Like, unless, yeah, okay, there might be a formula to be a draft pick and to be a D1 guy. Yeah, like same thing. Like if you throw 95 in high school, you know, what I mean, boom, that's a pretty simple formula to freaking do it. Or, you know, what I mean, the way we like to do, we like to say is you got to be the MVP of the league, whatever league you're in. You know, what I mean, that might not guarantee you professional, but it will kind of guarantee you that you move up,
Right.
that
I
you move
mean,
on to the next.
it's probably one of the smartest things I ever heard when I actually
Yeah,
heard the comparisons of the things of how the guys get out of these Latin countries with like nothing. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
so many guys I play with in Mexico were telling me about their youth experience. They're like, yeah, dude, I didn't have shoes. And we rolled up paper and then hit sticks. And then we got to play baseball on a field maybe like once or twice a month. And I was like, wild.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
crazy. So you just played the
yeah,
street all day? And they're like, yeah, that's all we did. And I'm like, that's
yeah.
crazy. So, okay, dude, you got anything you want to add? You want to jump in from this?
Um, What's been your favorite part about the new facility and the new teams? And
I think the potential, really, like
yeah,
we got a meeting in a little bit with another guy, really trying to put an impact on the San Diego area of baseball is like my number one goal with this whole thing is
hmm,
like try to provide an experience inside of a facility that you actually don't know what professional experience facilities look like until you get there, you
right,
know, like you think you do. And even if you
right,
got a nice college or a nice high school and you got some
right,
dope stuff, you have to be in there. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And until you've been around those people and see the vibe, one of my favorite examples is when we were working with Mark is we got to go to their lab. And their
yeah,
lab was the same size as our building. It was wild. I
yeah,
remember talking to Eric about it. I was like, this is crazy. Like
yeah.
they only have a couple things. They got a force plate and a Hitchrax and a hack attack. Like that's crazy. Like that's all you
Shoot,
need? That's all you
freaking
guys need?
indie ball stadiums are way worse. You know,
Yeah.
what I mean, you get a freaking hallway. You know what I mean? That they might throw some dumbbells in there for you. You know what I mean? Or a tent to go lift in. You know what I mean? And they might have a fucking 40-foot cage with with freaking nets hanging down everywhere, tattered nets, and you just gotta, someone on your team has to throw you freaking BP versus, the coach is doing it or no machine. So
Totally.
I think that's what's really cool about Cutternation is that, like, yes, we have an online presence, but we have a real in-person presence also. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's kind of what I want, these podcasts to be kind of towards to. It's not just the random people who might just be numbers in our followers, but like we have real people that we really know and that we connected with that, we can really impact. And that impact us too, for sure. All those kids definitely motivate me to do all this stuff, and go out and be better. They work their ass off. I'm not gonna let them work harder than me.
For sure. For sure. I mean, like, it's like obviously JoJo, some of our main guys on our 14 ask about you
Yeah,
and stuff. And I'm like, and they, can we watch the games? And I'm like, I will email everybody as soon as we know anything at all. Why not?
yeah,
You should be able to go watch your coach and do stuff in there and
yeah,
watch him go to, and those are the cool things that have evolved into the baseball technology world. I mean, I remember being like one of the first guys posting videos in Mexico and people would be like,
yeah,
this is crazy. But from where I'm in Florida, it's not the same vibe,
yeah,
And over here, you guys would be like, oh, that's cool. It's another guy.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
back home, you're crazy. Hey.
Shoot, my first live in-person MMA fight that I went to go watch was to go watch my little brother's his two coaches, that were in the gym and go fight professionally. I mean, it was up close and they kicked, and they fucking they had it was two good fight. Well, one was a really good fight. One was a really good fight. It was a really good fight. And the other one just whooped his. He just freaking the guy he fought was a freaking scrub. So, but it was really cool. You know what I mean? And everyone like from their gym coming together, watching the two head guys of the gym. You know, go get
Yeah,
after it. And I think that's something really cool that me and the rest of our pro guys we can provide that kind of experience, that kind of connection to our kids because in the baseball world that hardly ever happens. You know what I mean? And then like I never had a coach that I can just go watch and play. You know what I mean? Like I barely had a coach that can actually do the things that we was teaching, and that's where Damian Jackson was a big part. Like I saw him do things that were crazy to me. Like, even when he was old, you know, I mean, some baseball things, you know, whether it was baseball or just athletic things in general. I remember he came in, I don't know what he was mad about. He was just fired up something, but he freaking hurdled the fence. You know what I mean? He just came in and hurdled the fence for no reason. You know what I mean? I was like, damn.
That's a
That's
big
why he's a
dude.
big leaguer. You know what I mean? Like, that's a
Yeah.
fucking big leaguer right there, you know?
Yeah, sometimes you just see spurts of like, oh, like that's wild. Yeah, for sure. I feel you. With some of our trees in here, I see the same thing. Evan was like walking 91 yesterday, like as he was getting into his bullpen. He's like, man, it feels really good. And I'm like, that's amazing. Like and he's just, you know how much, like, he's got so much, like, he's a giant tree for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, dude, I think this has been great. I feel like we touched a lot of things that we wanted to.
Yep.
Good luck to you. You know, why don't you
Yep.
help with the schedule of, you know, give me what's going on. When's your first event? And then where's the next event?
Okay, so right now we are in Florida. We have this spring training camp with this organization called the Black Sox, who's run by this guy named Joe Torre. He is not the Yankees Joe Torre. He is the Indie Ball Joe Torre, and he provides a lot of
Specifically.
specifically Indie Ball Joe Torre, who I'm gonna ask him to do a podcast with me too, because he's a freaking character. He is
He
hilarious.
is.
You know what I mean? He can provide a lot of insight on baseball and just anything in general. But anyway, so he runs a camp here in Florida for about a month. It's actually all year round, but you know the best time of the year is about for a month, where all of his guys, whether they're signed or not, come and we play a game against each other every single day. And we try to play as much baseball as we can in this month of March, maybe early April, before everyone goes to their actual spring trainings. And then so I'll be here till April, and then we'll see where I go after April. You know, we should have some news coming up soon. So
Awesome, dude.
and that's
I'm
it. And then we just
excited,
go after
man.
it, and then there's four. You know, we go after it. There's four main indie leagues: Pioneer, Frontier, American, Atlantic. You know, I'm trying to get into one of those leagues, and be the best player in that league and keep moving forward. That's really it.
Let's go, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're rooting for you.
Yeah.
Everybody
Thank
here.
you.
Let's do
Yep.
it. Guys, thank you so much. We're going to chop this up, send this out everywhere. But if you haven't checked out our website, we've got gear, hats, hoodies, all kinds of stuff. Awesome. Berto Barrel Berto Barrel shirts that he's wearing. All kinds of
Yep.
fun stuff in there. But thanks for following. If you want, we also have this on every podcast network. You can just search Cutternation. We're pretty good at being found. I'm not trying to be non-found. So,
Yeah.
And then we also got some awesome program stuff here too. So if you're interested in training or some remote stuff, we got some things coming down in the pipeline on some remote stuff, some video series that we have available. So we just want to help people understand that anybody can play a high level of baseball. It takes a very, very long time to get there. It's not impossible. Just because the guy throws 100 doesn't mean the ball changes shape, by the way. Like, you can still hit 100, right? It's possible
Yep.
that, like, I hate putting this out there, but I would say sometimes, like, if you gave yourself an unlimited time, it happens all the time where, like, all of a sudden this guy's throwing 100. And I don't mean all of a sudden. I mean, like, maybe 10 years. Like, it's worth of work, and you can throw 100. And I see that. I mean, there's examples the other day. It was a dude 45 years old or something. He's got a tryout.
I saw that. Now he's trying to get
100 in
tryouts.
his backyard. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He's
So,
like
and
45.
that's, and he, right. And that's the difference of the process. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
good luck to you, buddy. We miss you. Keep
Yeah.
doing your thing. Say hey to the boys in the house. Are they all there?
We will. Pepe's at the gym. Skillman's here. Brian is on the way. He's in the middle of nowhere somewhere right now.
Well, we'll have to get we'll have to chat with all the boys too, and then
we'll get them all on here.
For sure.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. So,
Yep.
all right, dude. Thank you so much.
All right.